Hello and welcome to Let's Argue. I am your host, Jay, back from a long summer break, but I am here to break down week 0 and week 1 of college football. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. First things first, we got to talk about the biggest disappointment of the season so far, and that is the Florida State Seminoles starting 0-2 after a preseason ranking of number 10, losing 24-21 to Georgia Tech in week 0 and 28-13 last night to Boston College. Now, let's talk about some of the reasons why these guys are 0-2. And if you know anything about this show and anything about OJ Play Hard, you know I love to see the FSU Seminoles go through a tough time. Go Miami, and we'll talk about them Canes later. But back to FSU. First of all, the quarterback position is it's left something to be desired. To be nice about it, DJU, he's only completing 58% of his passes for 465 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in 2 games so far. The offense not scoring a lot of points, 17 points a game average in these 2 games. Definitely not enough to get it done. Now, if you want to sit down and you want to talk about DJU's performance, and rightfully so, he has not been good. But last night, we got to talk about the drop balls from the receivers, the drop balls from the tight ends. They got to give that guy some help as well. The biggest thing for me offensively for FSU was the lack of discipline, the lack of focus when it came to executing and penalties and just a lot of things that they need to get under control as we move forward in this college football season. Also, they can't run the football. 2.5 yards per carry in 2024 so far. That's definitely not going to get it done when you're getting less than 3 on your average touch, because as we know, it takes 10 yards to get a first down. Now, moving to the defensive side of the ball for FSU, it's the opposite. They can't stop the run. They've allowed 263 yards last night at home. 263 yards at home to Boston College. There was one play where they had 12 men on the field and they still could not stop the Eagles from rushing in for the touchdown. Now, I do think Boston College is a good team. I think their pro-style offense and offensive line is the strength of how they get it done, and their quarterback, Castellano, is a player. Now, taking nothing away from their performance last night, but if you're FSU, you got to tackle. I mean, that was just terrible. 5 touchdowns allowed so far in the 2024 season from these Seminoles, and that is nothing like the defense we saw perform for their nearly undefeated season last year. Now, if you're an FSU fan, I don't want to hear you talk about 2023 anymore. It's 2024. I don't want to hear you talk about Georgia beating your second string, whatever you say. Right now, FSU looks like a bad football team. And for me, it goes to 2 things mainly. One, you're not recruiting as well as you have in the past. You can't depend on the transfer portal year in and year out. That is a crapshoot. If you're depending on that other than to fill a few holes in your roster, if you're depending on the transfer portal for important positions like quarterback and your defensive line, you're not going to get that time to develop as a unit. And it's showing these first 2 games. You got a lot of kids that stayed at Boston College. You got a lot of kids that are coming in as freshmen to Georgia Tech. And you're seeing these kids grow together. And I think that is the main difference right now. Florida State looks like a rudderless ship. Now, moving on to the other side of the Sunshine State, a little further south, things are a little sunnier down in Miami. You know, us Hurricanes, we came out there and took care of business. Touted transfer quarterback Cam Ward, 26 of 35, 385, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, and a 41-17 beatdown of the Florida Gators in the swamp. Okay, now my Hurricanes, not to be a homer here, but my Hurricanes look good, and it wasn't just the Cam Ward show offensively for the Miami Hurricanes. Our offensive line gave him all day to throw. I love it when my quarterback is sitting back there patting that ball, looking where he wants to go downfield because he's got all day. And our offensive line showed up. For me, that was the main focus of this game. That was the one thing that I thought Florida could give us some issues with is up front. Florida always has those dudes. They've always got those guys, up front offensively and defensively with those pass rushers. But we handled it, man. We handled it. And you can't get mad at the play calling. Um, Restrepo was unguardable out there. 7 catches, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. And big shout out to the running game. We do it by committee at Miami. We have a bevy of talented back. Mark Fletcher, Damian Martinez leading the way. A.J. Allen is another good running back we have. But our running game, man, 144 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, 4.4 per carry. That's going to get it done every single Saturday. Shout out to the Miami offense, man. Y'all looked amazing. Now, to the other side of the ball, the defense. Now, we knew our front seven was legit. They were legit as youngsters last year. We did suffer a serious injury to our front line depth and Ruben Bain going down for a few weeks with a soft tissue injury. Hope he recovers quickly. But our Miami defense, 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 2 INTs. We held Florida quarterback Graham Mertz to 91 passing yards for the game, 4.6 per pass. That's 4.6 yards per average on the pass. Our secondary performed lights out. Secondary was lights out. That was a question going into the season. What would our secondary look like losing, Cam Kitchens and James Williams and those guys on the back end? But Jaden Harris came in and he filled the start sheet. 7 tackles, 1 pick, half sack. That's how you get it done. Miami is known. We are known for our do everything safeties, all the way back to the Blaze brothers, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, the late great Sean Taylor, and all those guys. So it looks like Jaden Harris is going to follow in those footsteps, man, and I'm all about it. Moving on to another game here. Gonna stick in the SEC with a cross-conference matchup between USC and LSU. This was a fun game to watch if you like quarterbacks. Okay, first and foremost, Miller Moss looks like a first-round draft pick. Okay, if you watch this dude in the bowl game last year and you watched him coming off of that into this performance where he dropped 378 yards on 27 of 36 and 1 touchdown, the man connected with 10 different receivers for USC. He put on a clinic. He carved up LSU secondary in that fourth quarter like I have rarely seen LSU secondary get carved up over the years. And that man went in there and he balled out. But now on the other side of this game, which was won by the Trojans 27-20, the other side of this is LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, who showed me a lot as well. 29 for 38, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. But in the end, it was not enough. The defense could not hold Mr. Miller Moss. And the SEC, check this out, 1-4 in these big-time cross-conference matchups in week 1, man. 1-4. Georgia, the only team to get a W in these big-time matchups. Notre Dame beat Texas A&M pretty handily. They look legit. They look big. They look fast. They moved up to number 5 in the rankings off of that win. But talking about the Bulldogs for a second, let's be real about it. This is the Georgia Bulldog Revenge Tour in 2024. They rolled over Clemson 34-3, and what was just a dominating performance in the second half. This game was actually close 6-0 in the beginning, but you could tell the depth of Georgia is just different up front. They ended up breaking that Clemson offensive line, and from there it was downhill, man. I mean, Georgia's going to be tough to beat this year. Now, moving on to this week. Quiet week after all the big-time matchups in week 1. There's only one matchup of 2 top 25 teams, but boy, it is a doozy. Number 3, Texas, going to the big house, visiting number 10, Michigan. Noon on Saturday. This is a big one, y'all. This one's going to have playoff implications. I did get a chance to watch both squads. Quinn Ewers is that guy. We know that. and he's going to have a chance to have a early Heisman moment. It's never too early to talk about Heisman, right? Okay, just making sure. But Quinn Ewers is going to have a chance to prove he is the Heisman frontrunner early in this young season. I think this would be the toughest road matchup for a Heisman candidate so far, to say the least. Going to the defending champions' house and trying to beat them on Saturday. For me, Texas is the favorite in this game. They're also the favorite on ESPN. ESPN is predicting they have a 74% chance to win this game. They are a -4 favorite on ESPN bet. So there you go for all you gamblers out there. But another storyline in this game is, does Michigan have a quarterback? I like the kid, Alex Orji. He does look like a nice dual threat quarterback, but is he ready for this type of challenge that Texas is going to present? Texas does have a championship roster, in my opinion, this year. You just look at the quarterback room. You got 2 future first rounders in there already, so those guys are going to be ready to play. But does Michigan have their guy? It did not look like it in week 1. Orji got a little bit of time. It escapes me of the other quarterback's name. I believe it's Wilson. But they split the time, and neither one of them kind of sees the job. And now you got the Longhorns coming in. So that is a tall task for Sharon Moore and his team, most definitely. And I am looking forward to watching it. But this week 1, man, this football season has been unpredictable so far. Not a lot of huge upsets, but the FSU debacle is at the forefront of everybody's mind, and rightfully so. They got to right that ship pretty quickly. And, this is Jay Play Hard, and I'm going to end it here. It's good to be back. It's good to be chatting with you. It's good to be hanging out and watching football. Next week we will be talking NFL, more college, more fantasy football, of course. And that NFL season does kick off on Thursday. We got the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. So a rematch of the AFC Conference Championship game. Make sure you tune into that. And I'll be here to talk about it. This is Jay Playhard, signing.